Welcome to this explainer. We're jumping straight into what can only be described as a severe medical crisis. You need to understand that our modern food environment wasn't an accident. It was deliberately engineered to monetize human hunger. And if you're over 60, this represents a lifelong biological hijacking. Today, we're unpacking the hidden health risks and the severe metabolic impact of an industry that literally replaced the natural requirements of your body with manufactured, trademarked products. Let's look at a woman named Jean. In 1961, at 22 years old, she wore a dress with a 23-inch waist. Now, flash forward 28 years and 4 children later, she wore that exact same dress. She maintained this biological baseline without counting a single calorie. And the crucial thing here is that this wasn't exceptional. This was simply the standard metabolic function of an entire generation, right before their environment was systematically altered. Section 1. The 1961 Weight Loss Secret. In Jean's household, you wouldn't find any gym memberships, food journals, or point systems. In fact, the word diet simply meant biological nourishment. They relied on ordinary habits that effortlessly maintained natural metabolic homeostasis. What they required was a world that hadn't yet been organized around making these simple, life-saving habits practically impossible to maintain. Section 2. The invention of snacking. We have to realize that the grazing lifestyle is a completely manufactured business model. Look at the timeline here. Before 1966, the American snack food category was virtually non-existent. Then suddenly, we get Doritos, Pringles, and Starbucks. This habit of constant eating throughout the day, it is not biological. It severely disrupts the digestive system's natural resting state. This specific era engineered an artificial hunger that makes snacking feel necessary, severely impacting the insulin response of anyone who lived through it. To put that in perspective, this manufactured snacking category is now valued at a staggering $18 billion. Jean never bought the product, so her biology never suffered the chronic insulin resistance that it systematically created. So how did Jean avoid this multi-billion-dollar trap? Through a strictly enforced, zero-cost rule. The kitchen was closed between meals. Fasting between meals is a biological imperative, especially as we age. It allows your blood sugar levels to stabilize and your insulin to drop. Back then, hunger wasn't treated as a medical crisis to be solved with processed carbohydrates. It was recognized as a natural signal that the digestive system was effectively resetting. Section 3. Engineered portions and predictability. When you compare Jean's zero-cost standards to our highly engineered modern equivalents, the contrast is alarming. A 1950s dinner plate was 9 inches across. Today's standard, 12 inches. That's roughly 50% more surface area. This exploits the portion size effect, literally tricking the brain into overriding its natural satiety signals. Furthermore, Jean's bread contained 4 natural ingredients. Modern commercial bread contains over 30 chemical additives and preservatives, which severely disrupts the aging gut microbiome. And then there's the breakfast-on-the-go industry, which has ballooned into a $35 billion machine. Brands effectively convinced the public that they were too busy for real food. Instead, they sold ultra-processed solutions in wrappers that violently spike blood glucose while entirely failing to provide the essential bioavailable nutrients your body desperately needs. Meanwhile, the 1950s solution cost just 20 cents, 2 eggs and a glass of milk. Clinical research confirms that whole food protein produces a significantly greater satiety hormone response, and this is absolutely crucial for maintaining muscle mass in adults over 60. Their bodies were optimized through predictability, eating at 7 a.m., noon, and 6 p.m. Consistent meal timing significantly reduces total caloric intake and naturally repairs metabolic function. Moving on to Section 4, the hidden sugar trap. The data we're looking at here is genuinely staggering. In 1960, Americans consumed 23 pounds of added sugar annually. Today, that number is 57 pounds. This massive increase isn't from people eating more dessert. It's secretly inserted into our daily diets, acting as a severe biological toxin for the aging liver and cardiovascular system. Think about it. A 1950s tomato sauce relied on garlic and olive oil. Today's leading brands are laced with high fructose corn syrup, forcing the pancreas to work overtime and driving systemic inflammation. Similarly, the beverage industry generated a $300 billion market simply by replacing water with highly caloric, trademarked liquid sugar. These liquids entirely bypass the body's solid food satiety mechanisms, delivering an immediate severe glucose spike directly into your bloodstream. Gene's simple 2-calorie coffee break was completely erased by a $165 billion global market. Today, beverages labeled as coffee routinely contain 300 to 600 calories. Let's be clear, a modern flavored latte is not coffee. It is a metabolic disruptor disguised with a coffee name, containing more empty calories than an entire 1960s lunch. Section 5. Natural movement and scratch cooking. Before the fitness industry existed, movement was simply living. We call this non-exercise activity thermogenesis, or NEAT, and it accounts for up to 2,000 calories of daily variance. Just walking, carrying groceries, and scratch cooking naturally preserved muscle mass, bone density, and joint mobility, all of which are biological imperatives for adults over 60. Jean's neighborhood was her gym, and her scratch-cooked, low-calorie density food was her health insurance. Section 6. The truth about real fat. We have to address a severe medical misstep that occurred in 1977 when the U.S. Senate Select Committee recommended reduced fat intake. The food industry's response? They replaced satiating fats, like butter and whole milk, with processed sugars. Within 15 years, American obesity rates skyrocketed. The generation forced to replace natural fats with chemical substitutes suffered immediate cascading metabolic failure, and the industry that caused this crisis is now worth $250 billion. As this quote powerfully points out, the assumption that older generations simply possessed superhuman willpower is biologically false. Our modern lack of discipline is actually manufactured by an environment engineered to extract profit from biological hunger. We are fighting a system designed to force metabolic failure, only to then sell us the diet programs needed to barely manage the fallout. To survive this engineered system, particularly for those over 60, you must implement a strict biological protocol. Please take notes on this. Step 1. Close the kitchen between meals to stabilize your insulin. Step 2. Return to whole food proteins and natural fats for genuine satiety. And Step 3. Entirely eliminate liquid sugars and multi-ingredient synthetic foods. The requirements of the human body have not changed since 1961. Only the products sold to us have. Will you continue to fund the system that engineered your illness, or will you take your biology back?